At JCK Hospital, we understand that a child's smile is priceless. That's why our dental services are tailored with care and compassion to ensure your little ones have the best experience possible. From gentle checkups to specialized treatments, our pediatric dental experts create a safe and friendly environment, making every visit fun and stress-free. Because we believe healthy habits start young. And for the grown-ups, we've got you covered too, with top-notch dental care for the whole family. Visit JCK Hospital today, located in Roysambu, opposite Park University on Lumumba Drive, and experience dental care that's gentle, professional, and family-friendly. JCK Hospital, you first.
Greetings and welcome back yet to another transformative episode of the Healthy You program. My name is Enock Kitondekijja, your host, and I'm so honored to walk this journey of healing, health, and transformation with you. A special thanks goes to JCK Hospital, our esteemed partners. They make this program possible. Needless to say, they are the number one advocates for health for the body, mind, and soul. So in case you need any medical attention, you have any emergency that needs to be attended to, you can reach them using that number on your screen, and they will be right there at your service. Again, the good news we have that is moving right now, JCK Hospital College of Health Sciences is currently taking in students. Whoever is interested in pursuing your course in as a healthcare giver, certified nursing assistants, and the like, reach out to them today using that number on your screen so that you don't miss that slot this very year. Thank you so much. Now, did you know that nearly 80% of your immune system lives in the gut? Now, that is according to the latest information we have from Harvard Medical School. Now, think about this. Your gut is not just meant to digest food, like most of you know. It is actually the first line defense of your body against diseases. Now, we have so many challenges in Africa today regarding health. So many people are sick with various kinds of conditions. And probably something that we've not been addressing is the gut health. The question is, could that brain fog you're having, that mood swing you are experiencing, be linked to your gut? Now, stay tuned as we break down the gut health and also share with you the link and the role your gut plays in shaping your mood, in shaping your immunity and longevity. Now, to help us unpack this very fascinating topic is no ordinary gentleman. Today we have a man who has traveled very, very many miles from the States. We have Dr. Bauer in the building. Now, he's not just an ordinary doctor, he's a professor. He is a renowned researcher, a gentleman who has gone ahead to invest in science. He gets to study our bodies and help us come out with solutions to help us live healthy. Now, today we have him to talk about his story and more so in the line of gut health, where he found his passion and joy. You do not want to miss this discussion. And in case you have any question, you have that number on your screen. Make a good use of it, and we'll be right here at your service. So before I invite him, because I know he is really loaded, I am aware of those of you who follow us on social media. Again, you do so well. We want to appreciate you and remind you to subscribe. If you have not yet clicked that follow button, this is a good time for you to do that. And of course, if this conversation makes sense, you can as well share it with as many people as you can today. Thank you so much. Back to my guest, Dr. Bauer, you are welcome to, can I say Kenya? I think if I just say Healthy You or Faith Day Television, it will be a bit narrow. You are in Kenya for the first time, right?
Yes.
We're happy to receive you.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here in Kenya for the first time.
Yeah.
I've traveled extensively to over 29 other countries, but I've never had the opportunity to come to Kenya before. So I'm very happy to be here. Currently, I'm a researcher and a lecturer at a medical school, Liberty University. And at Liberty University, it's a doctorate of osteopathic medicine school. And at this Christian university, we believe that people should be treated holistically. So mind, body, and spirit. So all three components of your total being are necessary to be considered when you think of your general overall health. So I came to Liberty University from the University of Pittsburgh, where I was for many years. And I was able to study there and research at the University of Pittsburgh with some very renowned people. And I had a wonderful career there. And before that, I was at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where I worked also with some very wonderful people. And so I've been really blessed to be able to work with very top-notch people in this field of the gastrointestinal tract.
Wow, and we are really glad to have you in Kenya. You talked about Liberty University. Now, Liberty is not an ordinary university here in Kenya, more so JCK Hospital and the Happy Life Mission. We have partnered with these people for a long, long time. So when we hear that you guys are doing different, you are doing medicine different, it's very encouraging. We have seen a number of students come, professors come here, and they have been very, very helpful. They are indeed a blessing. Having you here again, it's adding on the very, very, very many blessings.
Yeah.
And we're really glad to have you in Kenya. How has been your experience so far?
So Liberty University, our mission, one of our main missions is to train physicians that are Christian, that will live out their Christian lives in their medical practice. And part of that is that once they graduate from our school, that they would be further interested in going on medical missions to come to other countries and to use their specialties that they've been trained in to benefit the people of other countries.
Yeah.
And so that's a big emphasis that we have in our program that is not so much emphasized in other programs. So Liberty University, the medical school, it's a very Christian environment. And that's very important to us as faculty, that our students be trained in a Christian manner.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. And also what really informs the foundation of this program and the entire organization is to balance, because at times people really focus more on the body. They forget that there is a spiritual aspect of the person.
Absolutely.
And it's something that we really also emphasize. We are learning a lot from Liberty University. It's indeed a blessing. Dr. Bauer, today we want to talk about the gut health. And more so here in Africa, most of us think when someone talks about GIT or gut tract, the gut health, we only think about it in terms of digesting food, stomach problems. That's where we end.
Right.
Maybe today help us understand what really gut health is and why is it important for us to pay attention to our gut health.
Yeah, so the gut is a very important organ in your body. And it takes and encompasses many different systems. So the GI tract itself is made up of different components. So the first component really is the esophagus, where what happens when you swallow. So the sort of functional role of each of these different components of the GI tract has their own special function. And so the esophagus has a very simple function. It's just to move food from your mouth that you're chewing and eating down into your stomach, okay? And the activity that is occurring within your esophagus is actually being triggered by your brain. You might think that it's being regulated locally, but actually your brain is controlling your swallowing. And then you have the stomach. And the role of the stomach is to store food and to continue to grind up your food before it is passed into the small intestine. And then in the small intestine, its functional role is to absorb the nutrients that you've eaten. And then from the small intestine, you go on to the colon, and the colon is where you absorb a lot of the liquids out of the food that you've eaten and your own secretions that occur into the gut itself. And so that fluid needs to be reabsorbed. So there's a total of like 9 liters of fluid that have to be reabsorbed into your body because your pancreas, your gallbladder, and your small intestine are secreting into your lumen. And then all that fluid has to be reabsorbed. And that's primarily done in the distal small intestine and in the colon. Each one of these components of the GI tract has its own contractile activity that performs its basic function. And that basic function is modulated by your central nervous system. So what we would call the big brain, us folks that study the GI tract, you have the big brain, and then the GI tract also is made up of millions and millions of nerves. And that's called the enteric nervous system, and we call that the little brain of the gut. And the big brain and the little brain are always communicating with each other. And I think one of the ways that you can kind of maybe appreciate that is when you're trying to give a talk and you get nervous and you feel butterflies in your stomach.
In the stomach, yeah.
Or you're proposing to your girlfriend for the first time.
The first time, yeah.
And you have butterflies in your stomach.
Sure.
You can begin to appreciate that there is a communication between your brain and your gastrointestinal tract.
Yeah.
So you have this very intense neuronal component, but then you also have the immune system. And as you mentioned previously, 80% of your immune system that basically protects your body from invaders, that's localized in the GI tract. And so disruptions in the immune system are really felt within the GI tract quite extensively. And so there's certain disease states like Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel diseases, ulcerative colitis, for instance. Yeah, these are immune dysregulated functions within the GI tract. And then, which is something that is quite surprising, is that if you look at a human being, I'm looking at you, Enock,
Yeah.
It's hard to conceptualize that you are actually made up of half human cells and half bacterial cells. So they're just about equal in number. So now the human cells are bigger, okay, so you look more human, then you don't look like a bug, right? So bacteria are very small, but if you count the number of bacteria, it's about equal to what your human cells are. And so I think that sort of like really can give people the impression of how important the microbiome, the distribution of different families of bacteria are to a person's overall health. And then on top of that, as far as the bacteria regulating GI function, you have all the hormones that are secreted within your body. One that's been in the news quite prominently recently are the GLP-1 agonists that people are taking to suppress their hunger. So that's a natural protein, a hormone that is being released from your body naturally. But people that are obese, well, they're taking injections of this hormone that's suppressing their appetite, and it's causing them to lose weight. But that's just one of the 40 or so hormones that are being secreted at different time points in the digestion of your food that modulate how your body is functioning, how the food is being absorbed into your body.
Well, yeah, I think this is quite very interesting. That is something that most of our viewers, I'm sure most of them are wondering, oh, this really happens, because most of us didn't think that, even our brain is involved in, when you are eating, you don't just swallow food. The brain is involved in a certain way. And also you've highlighted that inside there, the microbiome, it is comprising of so many bacteria. We thought these things are bad, but how comes they are living inside us? And there's that balance. So it is something that we are learning today. And I like it when you bring out the connections, how it's connected to the central nervous system, the immune system is involved here and there. I think that is something that we are learning today. And we can now, with that foundation, I believe we can now engage the next year of how, I'm sure people want to understand, how does the gut now influence our mood? How does it influence our mood? How does it influence our ability to even live longer? That is something that you could help us understand.
Yeah, so the old sort of adage that you are what you eat is very, very true.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat. And so if you consume highly processed foods, those processed foods don't have the nutrients and the elements and things that your body really needs. And so that sort of like leads to you don't feel satiated. You don't feel as though your hunger has gone away. So you want another hamburger, you want more fries and stuff. Because I think maybe if people think about if they have a very healthy, tasty meal, you actually need less of it to feel as though you're full and to feel that you can go on then to your next meal. But if you eat things that just aren't very tasty and don't have a lot of nutritional value, or you just want to eat more and more of it. And when you eat these highly processed foods, the different groups of bacteria in your GI tract, they start to change. And these different groups of bacteria, you can kind of think of them as different gangs. And when one gang starts to get fed by these ultra-processed foods, they begin to take over more and more territory. And these bad bacteria secrete things that break down the barrier, the natural barrier that you have in the lining of your gastrointestinal tract, so that the products that the bacteria are secreting actually get absorbed into your body. And when these bacterial products get absorbed into your body, it triggers an inflammatory response. These inflammatory mediators then can go and traffic to your brain, where they can actually cause significant effects on your mental health and contribute to depression and stuff. So what you eat is very important, and there's been studies done where if you improve your diet and you eat good, healthy food, that can actually change your mood and be very effective in helping people overcome depression.
Wow. I think we are getting new stuff today. We are getting new information. I must appreciate that. For our viewers, those of you who are just joining us, this is the Healthy You program, and we have today in our studios Professor Bauer here, getting to open our eyes to what really happens in the body. You don't just digest food. There is so much going on. The body recognizes whatever you eat, and whatever you eat, he's saying, is who you are. It impacts so much your mood. He's talking about now your immunity and a lot of things. We are also learning today from him that we have bacteria in there, and he has said that, you know, there's a competition going on there. There's the bacteria in there. I'm here to also understand, is there, because for us in Africa, whenever we hear a bacterial infection, we want to eliminate it. Maybe help us understand this science of bacteria in our body. How are they living in there and we are not sick? Do we even need them?
We do need them. So actually they perform a very vital function in helping us digest our normal food. And to some extent, when I think about the bacteria on my body, which is making up half of it, I think of it almost as another organ system, a very complicated organ system that I need to take care of. And the way I take care of that is to provide good, healthy foods so that the good bacteria proliferate and take over more space in my GI tract and push out the bad bacteria that are there. And in that way, I am taking this bacterial organ that's in my gastrointestinal tract, that's on my skin, and I'm specifically feeding that so that it maintains its healthy role. Because some of the good bacteria are generating chemicals that are beneficial to my body. And I can utilize the bacteria to feed my body and to trigger things in my body that keep the barrier tight so that the bacteria in my intestine don't sort of like leak out. The bacterial themselves or even bacterial products don't leak out and then trigger this inflammatory response that can have effects on multiple organ systems.
Well, today is a day like no other. We are learning so much. I mean, for our viewers, I hope you can tell this is quality information from Professor Bauer here. He is telling us today that it is important to pay attention to what you are eating, because we are so used to eating processed foods. And then he's saying these processed foods really, they are feeding the bad gang, like he calls it, the bad gang. Inside there, you have the good gang and the bad gang. So if you're eating the processed foods, the foods that don't have so much value, you're feeding the bad gang or the bad guys, maybe we can use that are going to take over your body. He's talking about now the good guys who have been helping you, protecting you, you know, making sure that the entire system is intact, there is no leakages, and that is the work that is done by another organ he is revealing to us, another kind of organ that we didn't know. You know, that microbiome we have in there. So in case you have any question regarding this discussion, feel free to send in that question using that number on your screen, and I'm sure someone will be right there to answer you. If you we have that number on your screen, use it very well. Again, remember, this program is brought to you by none other than Kitondekijja Hospital. They are doing their work so well. Daktari, we are really learning a lot today, and I'm sure our viewers are now going to be a bit more conscious what they take inside there, because it is not just about digestion, it's about protecting what we have in there. Maybe before we take a break, I know we're going to take a break in a little while, help us understand some of those, apart from just the foods we eat, the processed foods, what are some of the other things that could interrupt the, those, you called it that organ, that internal brain that we don't know so much about? What could really mess it up, and why should we be very critical about that, the internal system, the gut?
Okay. So there are diseases that are somewhat dependent on your genetics. For instance, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, these inflammatory bowel diseases, as they're collectively caused. And they are actually the result of the barrier breakdown in your intestine and your body responding over exuberantly to these bacterial products. And so a lot of the genetic mutations that are occurring in these folks that have these diseases are in pathways that cause the immune system to attack your GI tract. And so there are times where things go wrong biologically. And diet also has an effect on these folks. So there are certain diets that will be utilized for people that have inflammatory bowel diseases. There's also other allergic reactions that people can have to certain foods. And these allergic reactions within your gastrointestinal tract, like celiac disease, for instance, they trigger also an inflammatory immune response within your GI tract. And then, as I mentioned earlier, those inflammatory mediators can have effects on your brain. So inflammatory bowel disease folks, they have problems with depression and in dealing with life. And that's another aspect of how the gut and the brain function together. And so treatment nowadays is to actually address the GI tract, but also to address what's happening in the brain of an individual that has some of these genetic predispositions.
Wow, that's quite enlightening. So we learned there's also a genetic component that is predisposing us to all those, whatever is messing up with our gut system. I think that's very important. For our viewers, the emphasis here is a lot of what you eat impacts what you are and how you live this life. Very, very important. We are going to take a very, very short break. And when we return, Professor here is going to share with us on how can you protect your gut, which is very, very important, and also share with us tips on how you can live healthy, you can live longer when you pay attention to your gut. So do not change that dial. We are coming back in a short while. Thank you.
Every great journey begins with a single step. And at Kitondekijja Hospital College, of Health Sciences, that step is met with warmth, guidance, and possibility. Here, learning goes beyond the books. It is where future healthcare heroes are nurtured by passionate instructors who believe in their potential. From theory to practical, our healthcare assistant students gain real-world skills in a real healthcare setting, preparing to serve, support, and make a difference from day one. Because at JCK Hospital College of Health Sciences, we don't just teach healthcare. We empower excellence. Admissions are now open for our May and June intakes. Step into your future today. Find us at Blessed House, 5th floor, opposite Garden City Mall. JCK Hospital College of Health Sciences, empowering excellent healthcare.
Faith Today TV is here to make your brand outstanding. Worry not on where to advertise your business or your product. Call us on 0114 777 000 or email us on info@faithtodaytv.co.ke.
Hello there, my name is Enock. Taking care of your health should be a top priority. Looking at the various engagements that we have today, it is so easy to forget about our health, mental well-being. That is why we introduce to you the Healthy You Talk Show, a brand new show that is going to address matters concerning your health, nutrition, stress management, mental health, name it. We bring to you a wide range of experts who are going to be touching pertinent issues concerning our health. Tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live on Faith Today TV.
All right, welcome back once again to our second segment of unveiling, unmasking what happens in your gut. Very, very important. And we have a professor here who has given us time to learn about what happens in our gut, which is very, very important. You're here understanding now how your stomach shapes your mood, how it shapes your immunity, and how you are able to either live longer or shorter. You will decide. But this is a discussion that you don't want to miss. He has talked about the connection between the brain, he called it the main brain, and then the small brain in our stomach, somewhere there. He's talked about a lot of things that you need to understand, that the food you eat determines how you live and it determines how long you live as well. So it's very, very important. There is nothing you can take lightly. And this is only brought to you by, again, none other than JCK Hospital. Hopefully you reach out to them using that number on your screen, and in case you need any emergency support as well, they're right there at your service. And we have a professor here from Liberty University. Again, Liberty has been a great bona fide partner and supporter of the Happy Life mission, and of course that is JCK Hospital involved. We get these experts come to share such insights on platforms like this, but also they give their services to JCK Hospital. So whoever comes through JCK Hospital, if you find any of them, say hi to them and tell them, thank you for supporting Africa. Thank you for being a blessing to this land. And of course, you can tell that there is so much they're offering. Yeah, there's so much they're offering, not just the treatment, but also they're focusing on we call it the holistic approach, the wholeness of a human being, not just treating the body. They focus on treating the mind, the soul, and your spirit. And the spiritual aspect is what our bishop does so much. right here at Faith Day Television. Before we took a break, we were learning about how we get to mess up our gut. And the next part, we are going to hear from Dr. Bauer how what really happens. How can you tell that your gut is messed up, there is something wrong, and you probably need to see a doctor or a specialist. Dr. Bauer, help us, give us light on how someone can tell. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can just think of a particular situation
Yeah.
where I'm working and I have a boss, and the boss is on me, and I'm very stressed at work,
Yeah.
and I don't have time to have a good healthy lunch. So I go and I grab the first thing I can get, which is typically some ultra processed food someplace. So what happens in that sort of scenario is that you have this stress that's producing the stress hormone in your body that's coming from your adrenal gland, actually. And this cortisol, this stress hormone, what that does is that it can affect the ability of your body to utilize glucose. And so your body is not absorbing glucose like it should. And it can also damage the lining of your gastrointestinal tract. So you have these two things. You have the stress, and you're eating processed foods.
Poorly. You're eating poorly.
And so both of these things, both the cortisol and these processed foods, are affecting the microbiome and the barrier in your gut. And so that triggers an inflammatory response. These inflammatory mediators go to your brain, and you become depressed. Because partly because of the situation you're in, but also because of what's happening to you within your body. So these inflammatory mediators can affect the way you think. So you don't think so clearly anymore. And these inflammatory mediators trigger more release of cortisol on top of the stress that's also causing the release of cortisol. And then that causes more breakdown in the way your body is able to utilize glucose. And so your glucose levels go up, and you go into maybe a pre-diabetic state. And so that can sort of like trigger your body to the point where you become diabetic. And then you have this feedback system where there's more cortisol being produced, there's more inflammatory mediators being produced, it's causing a bigger effect on your brain and stuff. And so you can see your body gets into this very negative cycle of functioning that can be difficult to pull yourself out of, especially because of the effects on your brain, the cognitive effects that the inflammatory response is having. And then another consequence of the cortisol is that it shuts off the production of a hormone that regulates your blood pressure. And so cortisol regulates the production of the hormone that regulates your blood pressure. So then your blood pressure goes up. So then you end up with hypertension. So you can see where all these systems are interacting with your GI tract, with your adrenal gland, with your brain, and your body is not a separate organ system. It's a multi-organ system that really all works together. And so you have environmental factors like the stress of your job. You have what you're eating is not healthy for you. And that then triggers all these complicated mechanisms within your body that just makes you feel, bad. It promotes you to have diabetes. It promotes you to have high blood pressure, and trigger this low-grade inflammation within your body. And these are very, very negative things. And if you can change what you eat, that can be very beneficial for you.
Changing what you eat. He's emphasizing, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is Faith Today Television. Professor Bauer is emphasizing what you eat is very important. It plays a critical role in the entire system of your gut. Very, very important. So you need to do an adjustment. If you've been eating processed foods, that is something that he is emphasizing today. We need to change that. You need to change your diet because it is doing much bad. And we are also learning today from this discussion that the stress, most of us here, we are stressed in various ways, and people take it seriously. People take the stress serious, rather they don't take it serious. But now from what you are saying, you are emphasizing that this stress affects a lot in our body. It can like trigger a cascade of events that you allude to now. Our hormones, our hormones are involved in this. That is the chemicals in the body that regulate, the functioning of the body. You are talking about now how we process things. Our cognitive functioning is also impacted in the way, and realize it is just coming from stress. So for our viewers, we are learning that stress, if you are stressed, do not just suffer alone. There is hope for you. There is help for you. You can reach out for help. There is that number on your screen as again. That is JCK Hospital number. I'm sure it has been flashed on your screen. Make sure that you utilize it. Today we are focusing on getting what really happens in your body. But in case you need more time, because I realize we need more time to really break down stuff here. But in case we don't do, you can use that number on your screen to reach out to JCK Hospital for help. Dr. Bauer, we are getting quality information today, and we hear that stress is a factor that we cannot take lightly, more so in this time. And I know you don't have a lot of time. I'm trying to narrow down the questions I have here, but I know my viewer will strangle me if you don't answer this. How do we really preserve our gut health? I know you've talked about eating right, but I know there are other secrets that you have for us as a professor. What do you advise us to do, more so here in Africa? How do we protect that gut? How do you preserve it?
So I see that nutrition is not only for myself, but it's a generational thing. So certain things in society are set up maybe not to benefit the common man. So certain companies and stuff can push for us to eat processed foods. Those processed foods cause us to develop diabetes and high blood pressure and other lifelong complications, depression, where the drug companies love to have these lifelong complications so that they can continue to give you drugs. And the drugs are good. Some people need the drugs. But the problem is that you can give your resources then to the big agricultural companies that are pushing bad diet, and you take your resources and you give them to the drug companies because you need the drugs to treat you, and you're losing those resources that you could be investing in your family. And so then your next generation, your children and your children's children are not learning to keep their own resources within the family to grow the productivity and the health of the family. And so it's a utilization, how you think of utilizing the resources that you have are very important, not just for your own health, but for the health of your children, because your children will end up eating the same thing you are. If you are not eating healthy, your children will not be eating healthy.
Yeah.
And their children will not be eating healthy. And all your resources then go towards maintaining life, but not healthy life. And it's much better if you really think about the resources that you're utilizing for yourself to have a good diet so that you can invest those resources in the education of your children. And then they can be lifted out of poverty and they can go on and have, more productive careers and stuff. So I see it in a very dimensional way, how important this is.
Yeah.
Not just for my own health, but for the health of my children and my children's children.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that is very profound when you give that foundational truth that what we eat today as, parents, our children are watching, they're going to copy the same. And then if we are not careful, we are going to have these problems coming in over and over again. And I think for Africa, it is high time that we pay attention to that. Yeah, so for our viewers, we are learning today that the issue of nutrition, you cannot downplay it and you cannot overemphasize it on this show. The way you eat, what you eat is very, very important. Nutrition is very, very key here. You highlighted about the idea of exercise. Does it help in any way? Maybe you could help us understand, because I see you guys, the whites are always running, exercising. Is it something that can also benefit the gut?
Yeah, definitely. So when you're exercising, you're moving your muscles and stuff, and that can help promote good movement of food through your GI tract. And in fact, there's a very simple osteopathic, I'm not a clinician, I'm a scientist, but if you sometimes people do get constipated, right? And stuff. And there's a simple maneuver called milking the intestine and stuff. And you can run your hands around your intestine and sort of like move things through. And you can do that on yourself. If it hurts, stop and go see a doctor. But there's this simple procedure that you can use to help. And that's what kind of exercising does, right? You're doing crunches, you're running, jogging. These can be very beneficial to your gastrointestinal tract and also to your mind. So there's been studies done where people who exercise have the same benefit of relieving their depression symptoms as taking some drugs that are typically prescribed for depression. And so drugs are good for an acute sort of depressive event. But if you can do things naturally, like go run in nature, and stimulate your own endorphins within your brain. So endorphins are the happy chemicals in your brain and stuff. If you can stimulate that, that can be very beneficial to combating, depression, for instance, and anxiety.
Wow, and that is very profound, because when you come to Africa, we are so much accustomed to using drugs everywhere, all over the place, because I think that is the culture we have grown up in. We think that everything, every pain, every issue that is giving us discomfort, we need to, use a drug or a medication here. And maybe that's the agenda that is pushed. But it's important that, like you've emphasized, that these drugs here, they affect us in a way. And one thing that I appreciate about professors is that you guys do less of prescribing drugs. You do a lot of, the practical work. You've talked about the massage. those are some of the things we are not told. Yeah, that's just a simple massage can help. Exercise can also help relieve, your bowel and things like that. I think that is very key. For our viewers, these are tips and secrets we are learning from a professor, someone who has literally paid attention to understand our health so that we can be able to live longer. Long life is something that you all need. So again, three keys we get here is nutrition, avoid drugs. We are so used to treating ourselves. No prescription, you get these drugs, over the counter and things like that. We are learning that you may be using that antibiotic, but it is affecting some good, bacteria in there. So there's that balance. There's bad bacteria, yes, but there's also good bacteria. If you're just using drugs anyhowly, you are affecting the good. He called them the good gang. I don't want to forget that, the good gang or the good guys there. So it's important to watch out what you really put inside there. And then exercise is very important. What's the technique of exercising? How often should one exercise?
I think that's a standard sort of idea is that you would get maybe like 20 minutes in a day.
In a day?
Yeah,
wow.
20 minutes in a day.
Okay.
They used to say that you needed to do 10,000 steps, but that's actually come down. I think now the newer studies are saying around 7,000 steps are fine.
Are fine. Okay.
And so it's not that you have to think about exercise. You have to get out there and be drenched in sweat and run a 10-mile marathon or anything like that.
Go to the gym, pay a gym subscription.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, that's not really that necessary.
Yeah.
A lot of it too is stretching is really important, and that's all part of just normal exercising is to keep yourself stretched out and limber. But it's not that you have to, exhaust yourself, because you can't do that, right? I mean, you can't practically come home from work and then go and, do some really exhausting exercise. That's not a healthy life either. And it's really, putting programs and choices in your life that are going to be really beneficial for you in the long run. That's important.
That's very important. And I like it how you simplify information for us and how you make it clear, because most of the times people tell us exercise, just exercise, but they don't explain how you should do the exercise. That's why we find people go to the gym, they break their bones.
Yeah, yeah.
And someone thinks that exercise is about just sweating, then they sweat and they stress the body in a way that, they didn't know would happen. For our viewers, this is quality information here. Again, I want to remind you, if this conversation is very, very helping you can feel free to subscribe, feel free to share with as many people as you can so that we help people with gut issues. And of course, also if you would, we request for your support this television, support these conversations. Let us be on air with just your partnership. You can have those numbers on your screen. You can see what the tires are. You can support us so that we keep this message going out there and be a blessing to countless families, parents and teachers, caregivers, people who need this information. We are closing this because of time. Professor, I know that when we get you another time, we can exhaust all these other conditions. But for now, in your parting shots, help us to address the issues of chronic illnesses. We have so many people who are dealing with so many chronic illnesses in Africa, in Kenya, to be specific. So your word today can help someone reverse these chronic illnesses and also get better. Thank you. Come to the camera.
Okay. I think it is really important to consider your body as a functioning organ together, and that all your organ systems really interact with each other. And so what you eat is very important, and how it can affect your body, not just as far as how many amino acids that you can consume or vitamin C that you consume, but really all of the nutrients and minerals and things that your body needs. And that also has an effect on this microbiome within your GI tract. Then, of course, life stresses are very important. Another one that we didn't talk about is atherosclerosis, so that people that have heart attacks and stuff. Again, this is an inflammatory response that is triggered from stress. So you have the cortisol. Again, you can see these similar themes coming up as you look at these different disease states. And so it's really important to understand these diseases. And with the help of the internet these days, you can easily go and look at and understand information that is out there. And so I really encourage you to do that, and I encourage you to do it from reliable sources. There are some sort of not so reliable sources out there. But for instance, if you go to the Mayo Clinic website, you can get good information from them. So be a little bit discriminating, just as you are discriminating in other aspects of your life. Discriminate what you consume off the internet as well. Some of the things maybe not so accurate. And so, yeah, I would just encourage everyone to, consider their body as a whole. And not just their body, but mind, body, and spirit. So the spiritual component of an individual's life is also an important aspect, and how that affects your body. So having a belief in a creator is a wonderful thing to foster good health within yourself. You develop a good faith community where you can go share your thoughts if you're going through a difficult time and stuff. So that's really important too. So it's mind, body, and spirit, all three of these things that are important as you go and try to conserve your resources that you can invest in your family, not externally. And sure, at times you need to go to the Jesse K Hospital for certain things and stuff, and they're providing a wonderful service there. But the objective is to try to live as healthy of a life as you possibly can.
I feel like I needed to hear more of that, because when you hear the spiritual aspect being emphasized by a professor, that is information we rarely get in Africa. And so we really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Dr. Bauer. That is very, very profound. I can't really wait to host you again on the Healthy You program. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you've heard, he is a professor, but he also recognizes the superpower, that is God, that our bodies, this university, Liberty University, has come up with the concept that you don't get healthy just focusing on your body. They have mastered it. A professor is saying you need healing for the body, mind, and soul. And that is not even far from what JCK Hospital advocates for. That is why we are so much in tandem with Liberty University. They are transforming the world, and we request them to come quite often to JCK, to Happy Life Mission, to Africa, so that we can get this information out there in the outside world, because health is not just, the body. It is a variety of things, of aspects in play. He has emphasized health for the body, mind, and soul. I repeat this, it's very important. And again, as a station, we always remind you, we know there are those of you who are watching this program from home, you are catching it in the hospital or wherever. We need you to know that the doctors who are attending to you are only an extension of God's healing hand. And so we pray for your quicker recovery, whatever you're going through. We know, we trust that you will get better as long as you trust in God. Doctors are simply an extension, but God will heal you truly. Again, as we close this, your gut may be hidden, but it plays so much role in your entire body. Your mood is impacted, your immune system is impacted, and also your longevity, how long you live, is also impacted by your gut. Pay attention to what you eat. Pay attention to the medications you take. Pay attention to the farming you are doing. Pay attention to your soul, because it's very important. My name is Enock Kitondekijja, and you have been watching the Healthy You program. Until we meet next time, stay proactive, stay informed, and stay healthy. God bless you.
At JCK Hospital, we understand that a child's smile is priceless. That's why our dental services are tailored with care and compassion to ensure your little ones have the best experience possible. From gentle checkups to specialized treatments, our pediatric dental experts create a safe and friendly environment, making every visit fun and stress-free. Because we believe healthy habits start young. And for the grown-ups, we've got you covered too, with top-notch dental care for the whole family. Visit JCK Hospital today, located in Roysambu, opposite Park University on Lumumba Drive, and experience dental care that's gentle, professional, and family-friendly. JCK Hospital, you first.